Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and this is Express News. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated an emerging science, technology and innovation conclave in New Delhi on Monday. The Prime Minister released a vision document and a coffee table book. He also launched a 1 lakh crore rupee research, development and innovation scheme fund. Addressing the event, the Prime Minister emphasized that efforts are being made to promote research and development in the private sector. Hailing the India women's cricket team's World Cup win, the Prime Minister called it a spectacular win and said that the team's performance in the final was marked by great skill and confidence. On Sunday, Indian scientists successfully launched India's heaviest communication satellite from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota. The satellite will strengthen the Indian Navy's space-based communication network and enhance maritime domain awareness. Prime Minister Modi extended his heartfelt congratulations to all the scientists involved in the mission, including ISRO, saying that India's space sector has become synonymous with excellence and innovation. Prime Minister Modi intensified the BJP-led NDA's push in the Bihar Assembly election on Monday by addressing a rally in the district of Saharsa. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar welcomed Bahrain's Foreign Minister Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani to New Delhi on Monday. The Bahraini minister is in India on a two-day visit. Delivering his opening remarks at the 5th India-Bahrain Joint Commission meeting, Minister Jaishankar reiterated India's support for the Gaza peace plan and hoped that it will hopefully lead to a lasting and durable solution. Bahrain's foreign minister said that India continues to be one of Bahrain's primary trading partners and both nations recognize that economic cooperation is essential for promoting peace. President Draupadi Murmu addressed the Uttarakhand Assembly on the occasion of the completion of 25 years of the creation of the state of Uttarakhand. The President highlighted the advancement made by the state in the field of tourism and education during the journey of the past 25 years. The Indian naval ship Savitri reached Port Louis in Mauritius as part of a long-range operational deployment to the southwest Indian Ocean region. The ship will undertake joint exclusive economic zone surveillance activity alongside Mauritius' National Coast Guard ships and aircraft. The Indian Army's Southwestern Command carried out a major integrated fire and maneuver named Sentinel Strike from 28th to 30th October at the Mahajan Field Firing Ranges in Rajasthan's Thar Desert. Following the exercise, Indian Army Commander Lieutenant General Manjinder Singh said the forces are preparing for all contingencies and acts of war. In a tragic road accident in the Rangareddy district of Telangana state, at least 19 people have lost their lives. The incident involved a collision between a Road Transport Corporation bus and a lorry. President Murmu condoled the deaths and prayed for the swift recovery of the injured. Prime Minister Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives in Telangana. He announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the next of kin of each of the deceased and 50,000 rupees for those injured. The Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapith University in Varanasi is organizing a 2-week course on Russian character in the mirror of the language. Designated by the UNESCO, the International Day of Biosphere Reserves is being observed on Monday across the world. India highlighted its strong network of biosphere reserves that stretch across diverse terrains. Indian equity indices ended on Monday with Nifty ending at 25,763.35 points with a rise of 41.25 points. At close, the Sensex was up 39.78 points at 83,978.49 points. The Indian rupee ended flat at 88.78 per dollar on Monday. Gold futures maturing on 5th December were priced at 121,482 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for 5th December maturity stood at 148,681 rupees per kg on the MCX. Brent crude oil futures rose to $65 per barrel on Monday. The OPEC Plus alliance agreed to a hike of 137,000 barrels per day increase in oil production starting in December this year. US President Donald Trump said that NVIDIA's advanced Blackwell chip for artificial intelligence would not be given to others, adding that the US will not let China have NVIDIA's most advanced chips. Asian stocks rose on Monday amid uncertainties of the US-China trade truce and rising investment in artificial investment. The dollar reached a 3-month high on Monday amid expectations of a US data release. Israel on Monday identified 3 more bodies of deceased hostages handed over by Hamas. Israel said on Sunday that it had received the remains of 3 additional captives from Hamas as part of an ongoing hostage prisoner exchange under a US brokered ceasefire agreement for Gaza. The remains were received through the Red Cross inside Gaza. Hamas has so far returned the remains of 17 hostages, including 15 Israelis, 1 Thai national, and 1 citizen of Nepal. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth arrived in South Korea on Monday for talks expected to involve Washington, D.C.'s goal of reshaping the role of U.S. troops in South Korea and visit the demilitarized zone bordering North Korea. Hegseth took a tour of the demilitarized zone between the 2 Koreas during his visit to South Korea. U.S. President Trump has warned that the U.S. could deploy troops or carry out airstrikes in Nigeria to stop the alleged killing of Christians there. Christian leaders in Nigeria welcomed Trump's threat to intervene over religious violence, but cautioned against any attempt to dictate the country's leadership. On the issue of giving Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, U.S. President Trump said that he is not really considering this option, even after the Department of War approved long-range Tomahawk missile supplies to Ukraine. Ukraine's military on Monday claimed that it hit a Russian oil refinery in Saratov region. Russia says it carried out a big overnight strike on Ukrainian military industrial sites. British police on Monday charged a 32-year-old man with 10 counts of attempted murder over a knife attack on a train on Saturday. The police said that it was not a terrorist incident. Tensions rose in Serbia on Sunday outside the country's parliament as protesters gathered in support of the woman whose child died in a roof collapse incident last year. Protesters hurled flares towards the supporters of the government, prompting riot police to intervene. They blamed the government for the accident, citing corruption and nepotism as the main causes behind the collapse. The Serbian government refuted the accusation, saying that the collapse might be an act of terrorism. Dozens gathered in Mexico for the funeral of Mayor Carlos Manzo of the city of Uruapan. Manzo was killed during the Day of the Dead celebrations. Residents in Uruapan marched in solidarity on Monday, seeking justice for the killing of Mayor Carlos Manzo. They demanded justice and immediate government intervention. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum on Sunday promised that there would be justice for the murder of the mayor and added that 2 suspects were arrested and a third was dead. China's President Xi Jinping joked about spying on South Korea's president as he gifted him a pair of smartphones. Xi and President Lee Jae-myung presented gifts to each other on the sidelines of an APEC summit. The United Nations on Sunday said that tens of thousands of civilians in Sudan have fled towns and villages in east of Darfur just over a week after paramilitary forces overran the city of El Fasher. The leader of Spain's eastern Valencia region, Carlos Mazon, resigned on Monday over his administration's handling of catastrophic floods that swept over the region a year ago, killing over 229 people and caused billions of euros in damages. Charles Costa, the world's oldest living Olympic gold medalist, passed away at the age of 101. Time for a short break. Keep watching DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck Afghanistan, killing more than 20 people and injuring 320 in Balkh and Samangan provinces. The Blue Mosque in Balkh suffered damage, with pieces from one of its minarets breaking off and scattered across the mosque grounds. Rescue operations continue to pull people from the rubble as Afghanistan remains highly vulnerable, located on 2 major active fault lines. The death toll from a landslide in Kenya's Rift Valley has climbed to 26 after heavy rains triggered massive destruction. 25 people are still missing, and rescue teams, including military aircraft and disaster specialists, are searching the affected areas. Scientists warn that climate change is driving more frequent extreme weather, as neighboring Uganda also reported at least 13 deaths from landslides in the last week. After Category 5 Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica, the U.S. has deployed 34 specialists and 4 canine teams to support rescue and recovery operations. Virginia Task Force 1, known for its global disaster missions, including in Turkey, Haiti, Ecuador and Nepal, is also on the ground in Jamaica, helping with post-hurricane relief. Traffic has resumed in Nepal's Prithvi Highway after a dry landslide blocked the stretch on Sunday, while several other key routes remain closed as debris clearing continues. Ghaziabad town in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh is witnessing a spike in pollution levels, adding to the worsening air quality across Delhi and the national capital region. Tehran's Toy Museum helps kids connect their worlds to that of their parents and grandparents via toys. The museum showcases toys from various countries. Families in Bolivia's El Alto danced and played music at the Mercedarian Cemetery, honoring their ancestors during the traditional Day of the Dead celebrations. Pope Leo visited Rome's largest cemetery, the Verano, on Sunday to celebrate a Mass in honor of the Feast of All Souls. Families in Guatemala raised colorful kites to remember their ancestors on the Day of the Dead. Mexicans welcome back the spirits of their loved ones, marking the beginning of the Day of the Dead celebrations. The tradition is an amalgamation of the pre-Columbian beliefs with the Catholic All Saints and All Souls Days. Locals and tourists flocked the streets in Mexico City and were seen moving around in the iconic skull-inspired costumes and masks. The parade featured hallmark elements of the annual tradition such as flowers, pre-Hispanic motifs and feathered costumes, popular culture figures and a float with people using wheelchairs. Fireworks and drone show amazed with the visitors in illuminating the night sky in Egypt's Giza at the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum near the pyramids. The inauguration marked the ending of the 2 decades of delays in the construction because of wars in the region, pandemic and other reasons. The museum's most highly promoted attraction is the expansive collection of treasures from Tutankhamun's tomb uncovered in 1922 and thousands of other objects. The inauguration was attended by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and other dignitaries and royalties who gathered to witness the grandeur of the museum, showcasing one of the world's richest collections of antiquities. Residents in South Africa's Cape Town marched on streets dressed as zombies in the annual Zombie Walk. The walk is a part of community-led Halloween events in South Africa, merging entertainment with charitable causes. Bolivia observed the Day of the Dead weekend. It's a tradition in Bolivia to buy Tanta Wawa's bread, baked figures that represent the dead. Dressed in historical attires, enthusiasts gathered to ride the vintage penny farthing bicycle model in a park in Czech Republic's capital, Prague. Located in the Spanish town of Bautzen lies the country's smallest cemetery, known as Teresa's Cemetery. Covering an area of 100 square meters, it's designated as the local cultural asset. Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan announced his next big action drama King on his birthday. The film is set to hit cinemas next year. Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Love and War, starring Ranbir Kapoor, Alia Bhatt and Vicky Kaushal, will release on 14th of August next year. Bollywood war drama film 21, based on India's youngest Paramveer Chakra hero, is set to hit the theatres worldwide on 25th December. The first look of war drama series Operation Safed Sagar was released on Sunday. The film is based on the Indian Air Force's high-altitude air operation during the Kargil War in 1999, one of the toughest air missions in Indian history. Bollywood star Paresh Rawal's starrer The Taj Story has collected 5 crore rupees in its opening weekend. The much-awaited Hindi action thriller series The Family Man 3, starring Manoj Bajpayee, is set to release on 21st November on OTT platforms. Sonakshi Sinha's Telugu debut Jatadhara is set to hit theatres on 7th November. Its makers have also launched the powerful Shiva Stotram. Award-winning film Little Box of Sweets, directed by actor-director Menaka Das, will have a special screening on 7 November at the British Council Auditorium in New Delhi. A Hollywood animated fantasy series, The Mighty Nein, is set to release on 19 November on OTT platforms. Hollywood true crime drama series Death by Lightning is set to release on digital platforms on 6th November. India clinched their maiden Women's Cricket World Cup trophy as they defeated South Africa by 52 runs in the final in Navi Mumbai. Batter Shefali Verma is the youngest player to be named Player of the Match in the final at the age of 21 years and 278 days. Deepti Sharma was named Player of the Series for her all-round performances in the tournament. All-rounder Deepti Sharma is also the first player to score over 200 runs and take more than 20 wickets in a World Cup. India's openers Smriti Mandhana and Shefali Verma share a 104-run partnership, which is their second century partnership in the Women's World Cup final. South Africa captain Laura Wolvaardt has become the highest scorer in a World Cup with 571 runs. The Board of Cricket for Control in India has announced a cash prize of 51 crore rupees for its women team after they clinched the World Cup trophy. Australia batter Travis Head has been released from the T20 squad to get some red ball practice ahead of the Ashes series against England. Yannick Sinner reclaimed #1 spot in the world rankings after he clinched the Paris Masters for the first time. The 24-year-old defeated Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-4, 7-6 in the final. Top seeds Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz will play an exhibition match in South Korea in January next year to ramp up their preparations for the Australian Open. Oldest former Olympic champion Charles Costas passed away at 101 years. He won gold at the 1940 London Olympics and was a torchbearer at the 2024 Paris Games. Erling Haaland scored twice to lead Manchester City to a 3-1 win over Bournemouth to propel his side to the second place in the Premier League. The Premier League side Southampton sacked manager Will Still after just 5 months in charge, following a string of poor results that left the club in the relegation zone. An Argentina football team led by star player Lionel Messi is likely to visit India in March next year. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.